Today we're going to begin looking at financial literacy. To do so, we have to talk about the money that we're earning versus the money that we actually take home after taxes. So to do that, we're going to look at the three different types of taxes that are on earnings. We have income tax, which is a percentage of total earnings. And to do this, to find income tax, we use what's called a tax bracket. And we'll look at that in just a minute. To find Social Security tax, which is also taken out of our check, it currently is 6.2% of our earnings, up to $113,700. We multiply our earnings or our wages times the 6.2% as a decimal, which is 0.062. To find Medicare tax, it's 1.45% on all income. So we're going to multiply our income or our wages by 1.45% as a decimal, which is 0.0145. Then we take our total wages, what we earned, and we subtract all of these taxes that we're just talking about, the income tax, the Social Security tax, and the Medicare tax. And what we get is what we call our take-home pay. And this is the pay or the money that we actually take home, which we actually see after taxes. So here we have a tax bracket, which you don't need to copy because you'll be provided with on any test. And the tax bracket shows our level of income. So for married and for single, it is different. So we find our income level. Let's say we're single at $54,000. So we would fit in here, and then we slide over, and that says that we're going to pay 25% of our income in taxes, income taxes. Besides that, we still have to pay the Social Security and the Medicare. So it's important to know these values here. So let's take a look at an example. Let's say we have a single person, because we're going to use a single side, earning $54,000 before taxes. So we're going to try and find this person's actual take-home pay. So to do that, we're first going to find the income tax from our tax bracket. So $54,000 again fits right here for a single person. So that's 25% of our income is going to taxes. So I'm going to multiply $54,000 by 25% as a decimal, which is 0.25. And when I do that, I get $13,500. So I'm going to pay $13,500 in income tax to the government. Besides income tax, the next thing we had to figure out was Social Security tax. And so I was going to take my wages and multiply by 0.062. So my wages, again, were $54,000. So I'm going to take $54,000 and multiply by 0.062. And when I do that, I get $3,348. So this is how much I'm going to pay in Social Security tax. And then there was one more tax called Medicare tax, and that is 1.45%. So I multiply by 0.0145. So again, I'm going to take that $54,000 that it looks like I earn and multiply by 0.0145. And I get $783, and that was for Medicare. So it looked like I was earning $54,000, but when I subtract out these taxes, so my $54,000 minus $13,500 minus $3,348 minus the $783, I'm actually only bringing home money that I see is going to be $36,369. So that's quite a bit of money taken out of my check for taxes. So that's how much I'm actually bringing home. That's called my take-home pay. So since we have this problem, we actually have to produce what's called a budget, or most people produce what's called a budget. And this budget allows me to make sure that my expenses, what I'm going to pay for, do not exceed what I'm bringing home. So a budget is an estimate of my income, which is money coming in, and my expenses, which are money going out for my necessities and my others. So in my budget, I am going to have two types of expenses. I'm going to have a fixed expense, and I'm also going to have variable expenses. And so if you can tell by the words, fixed expense is something that stays relatively the same. It doesn't change. So a fixed expense might be my house payment. Okay, this is stuff that stays the same. So this would be stuff like my house payment, my cable bill, my phone bill. For the most part, they stay the same. Now, my variable expense are stuff that changes over time. So stuff that changes over time, expenses that change over time are food. I may not go out to eat every month the same amount or buy groceries the same amount. Gasoline, I may not put as much gas in my car during the summer or during the year as I'm going to during different parts of the year. I may have different pet expenses if my pet were to get sick or something versus if they're healthy the rest of the year. And also if I'm going out a lot, maybe at holiday time, I may spend more money for variable expenses. So these are the two types of expenses. Tomorrow we'll continue this discussion and apply all these values to our work.